Okay, recording this video, it's Saturday 2nd of November 2013. Hope you're having a good weekend. Well, quick video on gold and silver. This is in response to a question I got from 1997 Superman on YouTube. I think it was last weekend or the weekend before. That wasn't the time to do an update on gold and silver, but this weekend is. We've had some interesting moves with this week's activity, so I want to show you those on the gold and silver chart, so I'll run through those. Now, just a quick kind of background. The reason why I'm doing daily, weekly, I should really have the third time frame up, the monthly chart, side by side, but I think it's just a little bit too cramped when we're doing these kind of big time frame charts. So my low time frame is the daily chart, the intermediate time frame is the weekly chart, and this one's kind of critical. This is equivalent to my 1500 tip bar chart for day trading purposes. Your intermediate time frame will help you with trend, and what I look for particularly is what Better Momentum is doing to show me those exhaustion patterns. And until we get exhaustion patterns on either way, we're kind of running in trends in different directions. So you can see here during 2011 we had this exhaustion pattern, the run up in gold into almost $2,000 here. That was the peak of the market. Blue professional up bars, exhaustion buying, pro signal exit kind of up here, perfect top of the market. And then we spent some time kind of testing, and it's not really until we put in our first bearish divergence, you can see here coming back up into 1800, that the downtrend really starts. So that kind of sequence is really important for me. When we're playing between the exhaustion pattern and the first bearish or the first bullish divergence pattern, that's really kind of critical. That's the time where things are most dangerous to be taking trades. This is the end of this move, and we've just been settling into a downtrend ever since that kind of came into the beginning of 2013. But we have now, on the downside, put in exhaustion selling first bullish divergence and blue professional bars kind of coming in here at the lows. What I'm particularly interested in on the gold and silver charts is this cyclical turning point. It's going to be cyclical resistance that kind of prints this week, next week on the gold and the silver charts. And coming into that move, we had, not this week, last week, we had amateur up bars. So amateur up bars just shows that the amateurs just getting a little bit too excited, a little bit too early into this move. I think this is critical level down here at this 1180, kind of the low down here is absolutely key. But I think we're going to have another pass back down just to test these lows, and we're going to go through a pullback to end of trend sequence on that weekly chart. And then so that weekly chart, the intermediate time frame, kind of helps me in terms of the overall trend. Then you go down to the daily chart or the low time frame chart to see what is going on at kind of the micro level. Particularly interested in the blue professional bars. So here's the sell-off into 1180, kind of down here. All the blue professional bars at the lows, flush pattern after exhaustion on the daily chart. There is a nice bottom being made here. But this last time around, we've not really found blue professional bars at the lows kind of picking it up in its strength. This is the most important for me, the blue professional bar that we had. The high of that is 1368, and that was resistance. It was kind of resistance again. We couldn't get through there, so the professionals were kind of dumping out of that move on the way up and weren't able, they didn't want to take it on with this next move up. So I think we're going to be moving to test the lows. At least I don't think we'll go much further, I'm not sure, but I think we're going to be testing the lows. And what I want to be seeing this time around on the way down is more patterns like this, so more blue professional bars coming into any weakness and picking up and finding where that support level is on these time frames. So that's kind of critical. So pullback to end of trend, running here's weakness on the weekly chart, and then let's see those down blue professional bars kind of picking up at the lows and see what kind of price points they start holding this kind of going forward. So that's the gold chart. Silver's extremely similar. So again, go to the weekly chart, look for better momentum, look for trend, and there's the blow-off move 2011. It was a bit earlier on silver than gold, but $50, that was the critical level on silver. So you got exhaustion buying, pro signal exit, blue professional bars, all those good things. Testing back up with pullback to end of trend and amateur up bars at that point, and that was it, the end of this move. So we came up with a flush, we kind of testing back up, blue professional bars coming in here and here, flushing out the last of those bars, and then bang, we get a real break into a downtrend below 30. And on the way down here, so we've got our kind of exhaustion selling happening on maybe a left shoulder here. We've got first bullish divergence kind of come in. But just like the gold chart, you can see here, not last week, but the week before, amateur up bars coming into this cyclical turning point. It's a little bit later, kind of forming on silver here at the moment. And we could play around a little bit over the next week or so. I'm not sure. But broadly speaking, I'm waiting for this to kind of roll over and kind of put in that pullback and go run pullback to end of trend and test those lows on the weekly chart here. And then if you look at the daily chart, on the way down we have blue professional bars picking it up at the lows, exhaustion patterns, bullish divergence, nice pullback to end of trend kind of pattern in here. And we did have, it was almost like a short covering rally here. We did have quite a lot of strength into an exhaustion pattern. When you see that after a downtrend here, kind of straight away, that exhaustion buying is short covering rallies. All of a sudden, all those trailing stops get taken out. People thinking, that the market is they've missed picking their exit at this last kind of bottom of the market here. As soon as we start to have any kind of strength on the way up, they're thinking, damn, should have got out, and it kind of forces that out of position. So that's short covering rally happening here. But you can see little amateur sequence, amateur up bars here, it's almost like a bear flag kind of on the way up here. That high of that bar was absolutely critical, so that's $25.16, $25, absolutely critical. Every time we've come back into that bearish divergence, this last sequence up into a cyclical turning point, couldn't get through there. And then you can see with Thursday's activity, that was kind of a nasty kind of shock back down. So that's what I'm seeing on my daily and weekly charts, continuation of this downtrend. I think gold and silver will rally, strongly at some point, but I think we just have to go through this kind of, testing back down into those regions. Now, the reason why I think, I still kind of think that gold and silver do have, some strength to go kind of going forward is if you look at commitment of traders, and I've just put this. So for about a month or so, we didn't get any commitment of traders numbers, but finally we got them out. So the historical ones are in, but the last weeks are not in. You can just see that on these last two bars on commitment of traders, they're identical. They're just showing the same value here. So this last week hasn't kind of updated, but the previous weeks now are kind of good data. So I take the commitment of traders numbers and I flip them upside down, because for me then they start following price. It's when you start to see kind of divergence patterns, the commitment of traders versus price. Those for me are really interesting, and that was one of the reasons that signaled the top in gold. We had kind of divergence patterns leading into that sell-off. What was silver doing at the highs? Yeah, just leading into that sell-off, we had these kind of divergence patterns kind of going on. So that's why I put it this way up. I kind of flip the professional numbers upside down and plot them underneath the price. And for me, what's interesting is they're above the zero line. So that's showing that there's kind of inherent kind of strength in terms of the professionals. Let's not talk about whether professionals are short or long or whatever. What I'm interested in is the overall kind of makeup of this market, and they're kind of positive through these rallies. So even though we've had this sharp sell-off, they're still kind of above the zero line here. So I think overall the market still has strength to go. I think this kind of 1100 level down here and $18, $19 down here for silver, psychologically very important, kind of critical. We've got news stories certainly this weekend talking about the amount of gold that the Chinese are acquiring and so on. And I'm sure if you've kind of around the gold bugs for any period of time, you can latch on to all of their stories on the bullish story on gold and silver, and that's I don't disagree with those kind of points. The question is timing and when these markets are actually going to turn around and kind of break back up into uptrends. And as I said, just based on the weekly resistance kind of coming in on the silver chart and the gold chart, I think we're heading for another kind of leg down. So there we go. Hope your trading is going well. Hope you're enjoying your weekend, and I'll get this out on the site ASAP.